Hi everyone, and welcome back to another video in my Standardbred Retraining Series with my horse Chips and Tonic. Chip is a 3-year-old pacing bred gelding, and in my last video I backed him for the first time, but I also mentioned that I thought he could use a little bit more of mental exercise than necessarily physical exercise at this time. And I also wanted to try to optimize that physical work to build up his hind end. So for him, that's been introducing lunging, which I will do a follow-up video on next week. And then today I thought I would introduce ponying to him. So for those of you who don't know, ponying is when you ride another horse and hold a lead line and just lead the other horse. The horse you're riding is the ponyer, and the horse that's being led is being ponied. So for Chip, I'm planning to pony him off of Cricket. And I like ponying horses for a number of reasons. One, it lets you get the 2-for-1 special. You know, you ride one horse, but you work two. And usually I do it for like 20 minutes at a time. You're never gonna be able to work 2 horses at once in 20 minutes unless you do this. The other thing I really like for a green horse like Chip is it gets him the experience of having a rider over his head without having to actually carry me on his back, which is just a really good thing to get the horse used to early on. The third thing I like is that I usually pony out on my trails around here, and so it's a good way to expose him to the trails while also building up some of those hind end muscles. So ponying is a great exercise, but of course when you're doing it for the first time, you are holding your horse with one hand and holding the horse you're ponying with the other hand. And some people choose to do it in a Western saddle. It definitely makes things easier, but I feel more comfortable going in my dressage saddle. So that is what I will be using today. And I will not be holding my phone at the same time. We'll be switching to a GoPro. So stay tuned for that GoPro footage starting now. One skill that you're gonna find useful for ponying is making sure that your horse can ground tie or at least stand when you're not next to them, because there's a few parts, especially when you're going to get on, that just make it hard if you don't have a second set of hands. But of course you're doing this probably because you don't have a second set of hands. So, but yeah, like I said, I keep saying blind in his right eye. He doesn't have a right eye, so he cannot see from his right eye socket. So we'll just have to factor that in. So that means is Cricket's gonna wanna be on my right side, and he's gonna want me to lead Chip on his left so he can see him. All right, if you've ever ponied a horse before, if you've never ponied a horse before, trust me when I say this is the hardest part. Because if you're me, it takes 2 hands to get on your horse and another hand to hold your horse that you're ponying and control him. And so I am limited by the number of hands that I have, which is sadly only 2. All right, Cricket. One. So I think I said at the beginning of the video that sometimes it freaks horses out to see you sitting on top. And it's kind of nice for a pony or a horse like Chip to get to see this, because I'm not riding him. But he still gets the sensation of like, hey, what is she doing all the way up there? And if you'll look around, we are starting in my dry lot. And that is because this is the very first time that I am ponying Chipper. And so to do it in the most controlled environment that I have, which is my dry lot. Now I left that gate open intentionally and that one open on accident. So, whoops. But Cricket, oh, what a saintly horse this creature is. Cricket's the best. Come on, Chipper. So in this clip, I am just starting out in my dry lot to get Chip used to the notion of being led by a rider on another horse. I always try to start in the dry lot because it's close to the barn, so the horses tend to feel pretty confident in here, but also it's fenced in, so if anything starts to go sideways, I can hopefully keep it a little bit contained. I did leave the gate to the back pasture open, hoping that as Chip got comfortable with ponying, we could head back out and ride out there. I think this all felt just as new to me as it was to Chip. I've done a lot of ponying with Cricket, but usually off of my right side, and I'm right-handed and honestly was struggling the entire ride to find a configuration that felt natural to me, and you will hear me complain about it the entire ride. The whole start, I'm just trying my best to keep Chip's nose at my knee. He really wanted to put his nose on Cricket's tail, but once I got him leading a bit more confidently next to me, we were ready to venture outside of the ring. Anyways, it's super helpful having Cricket because he is super well schooled, super bomb proof. He's such a good influence and he's incredibly adaptable. I am finding that I have to kind of shift from my typically preferred way of ponying, which is holding the lead in my right hand, holding the reins in my left hand, and kind of just steering each horse independently. But because Cricket would like me to keep Chip on my left, and I'm not coordinated enough to just shift effortlessly, I've had to change my leading configuration quite a few times. And kind of no matter what goes wrong, and nothing's gone terribly wrong, but as we're both, me and Chip, kind of finding our way in this ponying session, Cricket, good old Cricket, is being such a good influence. Another thing that I'm doing with Cricket, because again, he's very well schooled, is I'm trying to keep Chip's nose in towards me, which is in turn going to move his hind end a little bit out. And similarly, I am yielding Cricket's haunches a bit out, just so that, again, if anyone gets annoyed with each other and goes to kick, it's going to be a lot harder for either one of them to connect. Chippy, I want your nose at my knee, buddy. Cricket, turn in a little. You guys, I hope you can see in the video how much I'm struggling to maintain like left-handed ponying, man. It's hard. And all I want to do today is 2 laps, 1 in each direction, around the perimeter of my big pasture, which needs to be mowed. Please don't be mean to me. Chippy. Chippy's taking in the sights of my backyard. There's a pool, sometimes we have floaties in it, sometimes we have children splashing in it, there's a golf net. Cricket's, of course, first of all, seen it all before and also has never cared. So again, this is what I mean when I say ponying is good physical workout and mental workout for the horses. Not so much Cricket. Cricket's like, whatever, man. It's a good physical workout for him. It's a good mental workout for me to figure out how to hold these ropes. Chip, make up your mind, buddy. Do you want to go quick or do you want to go slow? The answer is you don't get to choose. It's Cricket's choice. By this part in the end of the ride, Cricket and Chip had both really found their rhythm. A bit earlier, Chip was either trying to walk too fast or go too slow, but at this point I really felt like he understood that I was just leading him from atop another horse, and all he had to do was walk along with us at the pace that we were going. Honestly, you guys, sometimes it just takes a while for your horse to figure out what you're asking. And so that's why it's really helpful to go with an experienced ponying horse like Cricket, who listens to me really well even though I keep dropping my reins. Come on, Chipper. And messing up, but he isn't bothered by anything Chip does. He's just like down for whatever. Cricket has ponied so many horses. He's ponied Tomcat, and Tomcat's ponied Cricket. So the two of them are really good at ponying other horses. I'm gonna say a few skills that you would want your ponying horse, like Cricket, to know is, if not entirely neck reining, make sure that that horse can steer with one hand. So for example, Tomcat, I can steer him completely from neck reining. I can steer him completely tackless. And also you want to make sure that you have good emergency brakes. A very tolerant attitude goes a really long way from your ponying horse. And you guys, if you pony your horse off the right side, protect your horse's right eyeball, because this has been so hard for me. But anyways, I think that went well. You can actually see it really well from up here. Chip just really lacks, he needs a top line. And so he's starting to put on a little bit of weight, so he's not quite, yeah, you tell him, Cricket, he shouldn't be rubbing on me. He still needs to put on a little bit more weight, but at this point, it's just his top line is completely missing. And so doing things like this is gonna really help him. No, don't touch Cricket, he said no. Doing stuff like this is gonna really help him build up that top line. Thank you, Cricket. So that he can support a rider. So another thing I'm doing to build top line on him is lunging with the equibands, and so tune in next week because I will post a vlog on how that is going. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more standardbred retraining content. Thanks for watching. Good boys.